Hey, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Passionate Pursuit of Manifested Purpose Ministries. I'm super excited to have you guys with me today. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Let me know who's here and where you're tuning in from. Who's here and where are you tuning in from? Let me go on and let me share on here. Hold on. Today is a special day. It's my daddy's birthday, y'all. Happy birthday to my dad. I'm so happy to have my dad still with me. It is an amazing thing. Come on in. Today we're continuing our Battle Ready series. Hey, Stacy. Hey, Prophetess, how you doing? Good morning, good morning. Hey, Artesia. Hey, Jackie. Ooh, y'all talking so fast. Yes, happy birthday to my daddy. Yes. He turned 82 today. I'm super excited. I got a chance to see him when I went home. So that was an amazing thing. And so today I'm celebrating him. And really, today's message is very much in alignment with my dad, right? Today, as we're talking about getting battle ready, we're going to deal with one of the greatest battles that we face. I guess I am kind of a daddy's girl. I don't know. We ain't always been cool, but listen, I'm my daddy's daughter. That's what I'm going to say. I'm my daddy's daughter, definitely. So yes, it is. And he still gets around well. And even though he's had some health challenges lately, like my dad is such a rock star. My dad's approach to life is this. Everybody's going to die at some point. I'm not afraid to die. I ain't trying to go right now, but I'm not afraid to go. And so that's a blessing because he's confident in his relationship with God, and he's confident in his journey. So you guys, listen, let's get into the word. I'm not going to be long today. I want to go ahead, hit this so that we can get this message and we can move forward. One of the things that I'm real clear about is who I am in God. Like, it's amazing because people often think they know who you are in God and what's not God and all of that. And you guys know how I feel about that. I talk about it all the time. You've got to secure your own foundation. You've got to secure your own identity in God. Like, it's got to be a personal thing, because when it's personal, you know, right? And so today we're going to be coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 3, because I want to talk about freedom. What does freedom look like? See, it is a battle to be free, especially in religion. It is a battle to be free in religion. Now, I know that sounds a little crazy, but I'm going to be honest with you. The times when I needed the most structure, the times when I just wanted someone else to tell me what to do because I didn't want to have to think about it, I didn't want to have to make decisions, I ran to the church, because I knew that in the church there would be people who would give me, like, okay, do this, do, right? And I wouldn't have to think. I wouldn't have to be personally accountable for making a decision that could be a wrong decision. Well, let me tell you what God showed me. God began to show me the bondage. Right. And I'm not saying that there's something wrong with church, the way that God created church, but there's something wrong with the way we do church. That's what I'm going to tell you. Right. And so when we understand who we are in God and we walk out our identity and we walk out our purpose, I'm clear. Listen, I'm not that chick that is for the church people. Like, I just am not. That's just not my ultimate focus, right? My focus is reaching the people who really do need God and want God, but the church has turned them off. Like, the church has made them feel like, I ain't really trying to mess with them people. I ain't really trying to go up in there. Like, those are the people that I want. Those are the people that I'm looking for. The people who have been in church and got disgusted with some of the stuff that happened, who got wounded in some of the hypocrisy. They had a chance to peek behind the curtain and realize that everything that looked good wasn't good. Like, I want those people. I want those people who need to be restored unto God, right? And so that's what I'm looking for. And that is my audience. When you know your audience, I'm trying to get this together, right? When you know your audience, then you can move in a certain way. You can move in a way that allows you to, really show up the way you need to show up so that God can be glorified. So let's go to 2 Corinthians. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. 2 Corinthians chapter 3. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to dive into this word and we're going to break it down. And we're just going to keep it real and keep it plain. How about that? All right. So here we go. In 2 Corinthians, of course, you know who's talking. What? The Apostle Paul is talking, like he talked over a majority of the New Testament. And so Paul starts out by talking about, are we beginning to praise ourselves again? Are we like others who need to bring you letters of recommendation or who ask you to write such letters on their behalf? Surely not. The only letter of recommendation we need is you yourselves. Your lives are a letter written in our hearts. Everyone can read it and recognize our good work among you. Clearly, you are a letter from Christ showing the results of our ministry among you. This letter is not written with pen and ink, but with the Spirit of the living God. It is carved not on tablets of stone, but on human hearts. We are confident of all of this because of our great trust in God through Christ. It is not that we think we are qualified to do anything on our own. Our qualification comes from God. He has enabled us to be ministers of his new covenant. This covenant is not of written laws, but of the Spirit. The old written covenant ends in death, but under the new covenant, the Spirit gives life. Now, listen, I need you to understand that Paul was making it plain to the people that listen. I don't know if y'all think that we're supposed to get some letters. I don't know what's going on, but listen, you are our letters. Your life is our letter. Listen, when I work with people, their life, their experience, their results, that's my letter of recommendation. When people look at the people who are connected to me, they ought to see them walking in a new level of liberty, a new level of confidence, a new level of boldness, walking out and fulfilling their purpose. If they're not seeing that, then they need to question whether or not I am truly producing, what is it? What did I call it, you guys? I called it income producing activities, life producing activities, promise producing activity, destiny producing activities, right? Is that what's happening, right? So you look at that and you see, and so let's go on a little further. So let's talk about this, the old way and the new way, the old way and the new way. It says in verse 7, the old way with the laws etched in stone led to death, though it began with such glory that the people of Israel could not bear to look at Moses' face, for his face shone with the glory of God. Even though the brightness was already fading away, shouldn't we expect far greater glory under the new way? Now that the Holy Spirit is giving life, if the old way, which brings condemnation, was glorious, how much more glorious is the new way, which makes us right with God? In fact, the first glory was not glorious at all compared with the overwhelming glory of the new way. So if the old way, which has been replaced, was glorious, how much more glorious is the new, which remains forever? Now listen. Let me talk to y'all for just a minute. Let me talk to y'all for just a minute, y'all. Let me talk to y'all. The old way and the new way. So listen, the facts. I'm just going to be real, just going to be transparent, right? The fact of the matter is the old way was one that led us to a place of legalism. Everything is about legalism. Everything is about, oh, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't. Y'all, I'm going to tell you what, miss me with can't. Right? Miss me with telling me what I can't do. See, I believe in teaching people to find what it is they can do in God. What is it that God is calling you to do? What is it that God needs you to do? See, we're running around here trying to figure out what we can't do, focus on the negatives, when what we need to focus on is the positives. It is in the positives that we find God. It is in the positives that we walk in God and love God and move in God in a way that is producing growth. It is producing that magnificentness of God. I'm telling y'all, when you understand that, then you begin to just move differently. You move differently. And when you move differently, you get a different result. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Are you doing it out of bondage? Are you doing it out of obligation? Or are you doing it out of freedom? Are you doing it out of liberty? That's right, Artesia. That's right. So listen. So here we are looking at the old way and the new way. The old way and the new way. The new way is one that, when we talked about the old way, legalism, the law. So let's go to the new way. All right. It says, since this new way gives us such confidence, we can be very bold. We are not like Moses. who put a veil over his face so that the people of Israel would not see the glory, even though it was destined to fade away. But the people's minds were hardened. And to this day, whenever the old covenant is being read, the same veil covers their minds so they cannot understand the truth. And this veil cannot be removed only by believing in Christ. Yes, even today, when they read Moses' writings, their hearts are covered with that veil. But whenever someone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. So what is the veil? What is the veil? Come on, y'all. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the veil. So what is this veil? What is this veil that is showing up? This veil that is appearing? Well, let's look at it. So it says, whenever someone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. For the Lord is the Spirit, and wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. So all of us who have had that veil can see. We can see. What can we see? We can see in glorious light. We can see. Yes, come on, the veil. So all of us who've had the veil removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. Man, y'all, listen. Hold on. Listen. I don't know if y'all have caught this. I don't know if y'all catch this. I don't know if y'all get this. I don't know if y'all understand this. But the old way had us in bondage, but the old way was still glorious. Did y'all catch that? The old way had us in bondage, but the old way was still glorious. The new way, if the old way was glorious, how much more glorious is the new way, which makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. So all of us who had the veil removed can see and reflect the glory of the Lord. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, makes us more and more like him, not because we feel obligated, not because of the law, not because of legalism, but because of his glory. Do y'all get that? It is the glory of God that is showing up in our lives, that is producing this change, this result that people are trying to figure out. How is it that you're so free? How is it that you're so free? Listen, I'm going to tell you something about me. This is just facts. Listen, you know, people look at me, and I know some people probably think I'm going through a change of life. You know, listen. I am who I've always been, but I've not allowed myself to show up. I am who I've always been, but I've not always allowed myself to fully show up because I felt like people can't handle all of me. So I'm going to limit what I allow to show up to match what people can handle. I'm going to limit what I allow to show up in order to satisfy and pacify people. I'm going to limit how I show up because people can't handle that. There are things that I want to do, right, that may not align with what people think I should do. Right. So when you see me and you see me smoking a cigar and you feel some type of way, like, well, would a woman of God smoke a cigar? Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something. What you see me do in public is what I do in private. Private, public. Listen, I'm not saying that I share all of my business. That's not the case. But what I am saying is this, like, it's not going to be like, I'm not going to do it in secret and then something come out and there's a picture of me with a cigar in my mouth. No, I wanted to smoke a cigar. I've been very clear about that. I want a tattoo. I'm going to get one. You can give me all the scriptures about don't mark up your body. You can do all of that. But if you got a piercing in your body, okay, if you got your ears pierced, hey, listen, that's a piercing. Your body has been pierced by something, okay? So I just am not doing that. Now, when we allow ourselves to really show up, when we allow ourselves to really be real with ourselves, God can work with that. And what does he do? He makes us even more glorious, makes us more and more like him because we're being real, we're being honest. The problem is, and this is why people can't experience real transformation. People can't experience real transformation because they're not real. They're not showing up really. They're not being honest. They're not even allowing themselves to acknowledge to themselves. If you lie to yourself, you know how you gonna be honest with the people. You lying to yourself. I decided to stop lying to myself, to stop lying about my life, to stop lying about what I want, to stop lying about what I want to do, to stop lying, right? But to really be me, to be free to be me. Now, see, this is the problem. When you're free, people in bondage hate you. And they hate it. They hate your freedom. They hate your liberty because, you know, they're like, you know, well, you shouldn't do this because they don't want to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's your business. You don't have to do what I do. It's not your responsibility. I love my family. I absolutely love my family. It was so funny though. My cousin was like, cousin, I just think you too classy to smoke a cigar. That's fine. Like, everybody's got an opinion. I think that cigar, I liked it. I did. And that's not going to be the last one I smoke. Okay. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be smoking them all the time, but it won't be the last. Right. And so I don't feel like I have to feel some type of way or justify or any of that. No, this is my life, my liberty. Right. Everyone has one. And it's amazing to me. And this is just, I'm just saying this, right? It's amazing to me. I don't understand why it is as people, we feel like we always have to have a commentary on other people's lives. I don't understand that. Maybe it's just because I don't roll like that. I don't feel like I always got to have a commentary on somebody's life. If somebody's doing something I don't like it or I don't agree with, I'm not. Listen, it's your business. It's not. No, I don't have to comment on it. I don't have to look at it. I don't have to watch it. Even when we talk about things like Kevin Samuels and the way he rates women, and those women go on there and ask that man his opinion. Man, you went on his show. You asked him his opinion. He gave it to you. Listen, we got to be real clear about who we are and whose we are. And when you are that, then you don't feel the weight and the pressure to be what everybody else thinks you're supposed to be. I'm not doing it. I just can't. And I think that the more we begin to allow ourselves to just be who God created us to be, the more we will find ourselves in a place of freedom so that we can get what it is that God has in store for us. Now, in the absence of that, we'll find ourselves frustrated, mad with everybody else because we don't like what they're doing, or we're mad because they're doing something that we don't agree with. Listen, who has time? I don't. So this is my encouragement to you. The word of God says that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. There is freedom. There's the freedom to be you. There's the freedom to take your journey, because it is a journey. I'm real clear. Nobody can change me but God. Nobody can change me but God. God is the only one who can say to me, who can change me. God is the only one. And when you get to the point where you're more concerned about what God thinks about you than what people don't know you. People don't know everything about you. They didn't make you. They don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. But God, who knows your heart, God, who knows your desires, God, who knows you from the inside out, God is the one that you need to be concerned about. Now, if my liberty offends you, I'm sorry, my liberty offends you, but it doesn't mean I'm going to change my liberty for your offense. I'm not. We've got to be clear. Who are you? Who are you following? Who is it that you want to be more like? Is it that you want to be more like God, or do you want to be more like people? Because the Jesus that I know was hanging out with the people that the church people, the religious people rejected. That's who he hung out with. Those were the people whose houses he went to. I didn't see him going to the houses of the religious people. I saw him going to the houses of the tax collectors, eating with the tax collectors, the ones that they said were thieves, the women that they said weren't worthy and didn't deserve his time and attention. That's what I saw. Maybe it was just me. Maybe I'm the only one who saw that. But I think that as a body, if we would understand that who God wants us to connect with is not necessarily who we want to connect with. We want to connect with people because of a name, because they're this great religious leader, because they've done this or they've done that. Listen, I don't have time for that. My connections, my relationships are with the people that God has called me to. And God has called me to these streets. God has called me to these streets. Yes, he's called me to the streets. He called me to the places where people have been rejected, the places where people have been wounded, the places where people have been tossed away, the places that people go to when they don't know where to go because the church has rejected them or has failed them. That's what he's called me to. What has he called you to? What is it that he's called you to do? Where is it that he's called you to be? We've got to understand that. Y'all, I don't know what happened. We've got to understand that. We've got to understand that where you're called is where you're to be. If you'll stop being worried about the people and the places that you're not called to, if you're not called to me and I'm not called to you, I'm okay with that. It's okay. But don't minimize or make less than who I am called to and what I'm called to do because it doesn't look the way you think it should. Don't do that. When we begin to really get the heart of God, we'll find ourselves in some places that people wouldn't expect us to be because that's where the people are that God wants to touch. Do you know what it means to someone to have someone just be kind to them, to show them love, to show them compassion in places where, they expect to be rejected? People who have been rejected, who've been abandoned, who have rejection issues and abandonment issues. Like, do you know what that does for them? How it frees them, how it liberates them? That is where true change occurs. It's not in the church where people have been in the church all their life and you preached a good message and the word blessed them. Okay, yeah, that's not the first word that's blessed them, right? They'll take that word, they may use it, they may not, but that word blessed me, da 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 da. It's in those places where you touch the very core of people, the very heart of people, that you begin to minister to the broken and wounded places in people's lives. That's where change occurs. And you can't get there. Listen, I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my ministry. I can't get there being prudish and worried about what everybody else thinks. First of all, that's never been me, the prude. And when I've tried to do it, I always felt like I was dying. Every time I tried to do it, and I've tried to do it on a few occasions, right? Where I was a part of a ministry, and they said, oh, you can't wear pants, you can't wear makeup, you can't this, you can't that. I was in a ministry where, listen, it was all about the can'ts, what you can't do. And I made a decision. I don't want a can't ministry. I want a can ministry. You can love God and you can love yourself and you can love others and you can have liberty and you can have freedom and you can walk in the grace of God and allow him to transform your life if you are open and honest with him and open and honest with yourself. I'm not telling you got to go tell other people all your business, but what I am telling you is this: you've got to be open to God transforming you. If you're lying to yourself and you're busy trying to keep the lie, you'll never be open enough to allow God to transform you. How do we get to that place of transformation? How do we get to that place of freedom, to that place of liberty? It comes from healing. And, we want someone to lay hands on us and heal us. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I'm a firm believer that when you understand who you are in God and you allow God to guide you and direct you and connect you and move you, that the greatest healing you'll ever experience is self-healing. It's when you commit to yourself to go on the journey to heal those wounded places, to heal those areas of your life that have previously had you traumatized. And that's why, I've partnered with Coach Eric Shaw, and we're doing a free workshop, how to start your journey to self-healing, This is what I know. A lot of times we know we need healing, but we don't know where to start, And while it is imperative that we begin to address the issues of our life, sometimes we just don't know how. Sometimes we don't even know what's really at the root of it. We just know what's showing up. And so what we do is we treat the symptoms without dealing with the root. See, people don't just become alcoholics. There's a root there. There's something that's happened in their life that they are trying not to deal with or not to face, or, it could be something that they've experienced, right? That has affected them in such a way that the alcohol is their numbing agent. The same thing goes for eating. The same thing goes for sex. The same thing goes for drugs. If you overindulge in anything, if you have an addictive personality, you are subject to falling into an addiction, right? And even religion can be an addiction. It's a lot of people in church. I promise you, they addicted to religion. They addicted to church. They got to be in church every time a door opens at anybody's church. They got to be there. That's an addiction. That's an addiction. And when we understand that addiction is addiction, then we'll stop judging everybody else's addiction, right? Now, you may not be able to be in relationship with someone with that addiction, but it's not that that person is a bad person or a horrible person. We got to focus on that. What is it about us that we need to be healed from? So, as we take our journey and we go through the things of life, somebody told me, I love love. I love relationships. I love marriage. I love it, which is why I've been married 5 times, right? But what I love even more is I love God. And he has me in a place that's peculiar for me. It's a peculiar place. It's a place that, people might not understand, people might not get, but it's the place that he has me. And I believe that he has me here for a reason, because so often, particularly as women, and not just women, men do this too, but a lot of times as women, we find our identity and our value in marriage and in relationship, when really our identity and our value is in God. It's in who he's created us to be. It is in how he has situated us. It is in our purpose. It is in our destiny. But there's so much pressure from society, from the church, to be in relationship and to be married, particularly because we are sexual beings. And we don't want to be in sin. We don't want to fornicate. We don't want to do those things, right? So we'll push to be in a relationship, to get married, so that we can legalize our sexual activities. Something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. Because what it does is it results in marriages for legal sex that end in divorce. Listen, maybe it's just me, but that's a little flawed to me. Marriage for legalized sex that ends in divorce. So you break the covenant. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm in a place in my life where I'm like, God, help us to understand what it is you need from us. Help us to understand how to really heal. Help us to understand how to be more concerned about pleasing you than pleasing people. Help us to understand your grace until we get there. And really, this is the truth. Paul said this, and I'm just talking about Paul. This is the same one that wrote this chapter right here, this whole book, right? Paul said, there was a thorn in my flesh, and I beseeched the Lord 3 times to remove the thorn. And what God said to him was, my grace is sufficient. Firmly believe that if we would be more concerned about our journey with God, then we could accept his grace when we need it. And the fact is, we always need his grace. God said, my grace is sufficient, for it is in your weakness that I am made strong. Wow. It is in our weakness that he's made strong, because he is the strong man. He is the one that we have to rely on. He is the one that we have to depend upon. So while we are running around in bondage, whatever bondage we're in, whatever bondage we create or we allow others to create for us, we're missing out on this glorious life that God has designed us to live. And it is one that takes us on an identity journey, because the more you know you and who you are in him, the more you can walk away from things that don't serve your life. But we are too busy trying to present the facade instead of being the real. We're still busy trying to look like it instead of being it. We're so busy trying to placate people rather than serving the almighty, all-knowing, all-powerful God. But what if we could get like Jesus and recognize that people aren't going to get your journey. They don't really know who you are. They might judge you for it. They can even reject you for it. In fact, they will reject you, but it doesn't mean you stop. I just think that we idealize Jesus now. And I think that if most of these church people, if they had been around Jesus during that time, they would have been, calling him a blasphemer. They would have not dealt with him. They would have said, oh my God, that is not God. He's a demon. That is the devil. I promise you, I just believe that. I think we idealize Jesus and his walk and his journey. I think we idealize it. And I think we think that we would have been rocking with him, but we wouldn't have been rocking with him. I would have been rocking with him. I'm just telling you, I'm there for it. I'm there for it. Where are we going? Oh, we're going over there with the tax collectors. Let's go. I would have been there for it. I think most people in the church wouldn't. Oh, they love God and they love Jesus now, but if they'd have been right, they'd been one of them Pharisees and Sadducees. That's who they would have been. That's who they would have been. So let's be real. Let's stop playing these games. Let's stop acting like, oh, Jesus. Da, da, da. I'm telling you, Jesus was rejected because Jesus was radical. He didn't fit in. He didn't fool with the church like that. He went in. He did what he needed to do. But his ministry was in the streets. Jesus was for the streets. Jesus was for the streets. So those of you that's for the church and inside the building and you just so legal, like you all about the legalism, Jesus was not about legalism, but he was the very fulfillment of the law. He was the fulfillment of the law. But all that stuff that they were talking about, all that stuff they added to, all those additional legalizations, all these additional things and constraints and stuff that they put on the people, Jesus did not do that. He accepted people where they were. He talked to them in a way they could understand. He made it so plain that if you were a farmer, you could understand what he was saying because he used farming analogies, right? If you were a fisherman, he used fisherman analogies. He talked to people and dealt with people where they were, and he did not reject them. In fact, the 12 that were the closest to him all had major issues. Do you hear what I'm telling you? They all had issues. All of them had issues. And it did not disqualify them from being a part of his inner circle, his 12, or even his 3. But today, we're like, oh no, oh no, this one got this issue, this one got that issue. We're looking for the perfect people and we're not perfect. The word of God is given to us as an example. But I want you to pay close attention because the Apostle Paul said something that is very, listen, our lives are the very letters. Our lives are the very letters. Our lives, we are walking epistles. We are walking books of the Bible because somebody, somewhere, someday will read about our life and they'll be able to relate to us and say, oh, yeah, oh, that Dr. V, oh, yeah, I can get with her. Yeah, oh, that's the one I relate to. But we miss it. We miss it. We disqualify people. Now, I don't know who we are to qualify or disqualify, but we disqualify people. And the people that we qualify, we discover are not who they pretend to be. Don't get caught up in that. Don't let that be you. Were you so busy caught up in a name that you miss the word of God when it comes? Try the spirit by the spirit and see if it be of God. You know, people can say, well, she's been married 5 times. She can't tell me anything. Who is she? Da 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 da. Oh, she smoked a cigar. Oh, she had on some booty shorts. Oh, she did a walk. Oh, she models stuff that I don't know. It's a little skimpy. I don't know. She does a lot. I'm good with it. I'm so good with it because it's not for you. It's for those people that now can relate to me in a way that they couldn't relate to me before because they thought that I was so pious or they thought that I wouldn't understand them. And that's why the people who know me will always say, you're so non-judgmental. Because who am I to judge you? Who am I to judge you? Who am I to judge anybody? And I don't have time to be judging you. I'm working out my own soul salvation. I'm going to judge you. If you ask me, I'll give you feedback. I'll tell you what I see prophetically. I'll give you a caution, but I can't judge you. And I think that's why I have the relationship I have with my children, because we have a different kind of relationship. Like we talk, like we talk for real, right? And so they'll tell me stuff that most people won't tell their parents, and their friends tell me stuff. And so it's a lot of parents out there whose children I speak life into, not because their parents don't, but because they don't feel like they can go to their parents, or they don't feel like their parents will understand. Or maybe their parents have told them things, and yet when they hear it from me, it hits a little differently. All I know is this: your assignment is your assignment. Your destiny is your destiny. The places that God has positioned you to work in, to be present in, to impact lives in, is the place that He's called you to. And it may not look like what other people think it should. Nonetheless, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Do it boldly. Do it with liberty. Do it with freedom. And know this, know that God is there with you. God is for you. Your angels are assigned to you. They're going ahead of you to prepare the way. All of that, it's a part of the process. And if you're not willing to go through the process with the ups and downs, the bumps and bruises, you're not qualified. You disqualify yourself. Because the only way you're truly qualified is by Him. He's the qualifier. He qualifies us. He qualifies us. Him. God qualifies us. Not because we're so good or we're so perfect, but because we're after His own heart. We have a desire to serve Him, a desire to please Him. Not a desire to look like we serve Him, or a desire to, say what we think we should say serving Him, but like we really have a heart like His, a heart that's loving, a heart that's compassionate, a heart that is malleable. What does that mean, Dr. V? It's not rigid. It's pliable. It moves, it adjusts, it adapts. It loves, and it bounces back when it's disappointed. If God loved us and treated us the way we treat people, we'd be in trouble. You see, yes, prophetess, listen, we have a heart of clay. But guess what happens when clay sits in the sun and it dries? It becomes shatterable. As long as the clay is wet, it can be molded on the potter's wheel. But when it dries, it can never go back to the potter's wheel like that again. Once it dries and it's hard, you can put water in it and on it all day, and it doesn't change anything. Some of us are like that clay that we've allowed to harden because people have rejected us. People have told us, no, God wouldn't have told you to do that. God wouldn't have said that to you. No, God would never. People always talk about God would never. Don't tell me what God would never do. Listen, I think most of them don't even know God. You don't even know God for real. You know an idea of God, but you don't know God, right? And there's a difference. You have an idea of God, but you don't know God, him. You don't know him, right? Because if you knew him, you would treat people differently. If you knew him, you would move differently. If you knew him, you would not speak sometimes. And that's why I know that God has worked on me in the ministry of shut up. You don't always have to tell your opinion. You don't have to always say what you think about someone or what someone's doing. You don't have to do it. So what we have to do is keep our heart pliable so that God can get the glory. Listen, you guys, I pray that this message blessed you and that you understand the freedom that you have. I want to encourage you guys to go register. Go register for the free class. Go register for the free class. I'm telling you, it will bless you because I'm going to tell you, when you understand that in liberty, God will give you a level of confidence that will blow the minds of the naysayers. It will blow the minds of the people around you just because people do not know how to deal with that. The class is next Friday at 7 p.m. and you can go to http://bit.ly/free self-heal. Free self-heal. Go register. Invite a friend, some friends to register with you. If you're in a relationship, do it with your significant other. One of the things that I love about what we're doing in this class is you get a masculine and a feminine perspective. You got a male and a female. This is not one-dimensional. So go to http://bit.ly/free self-heal. Go there. You can register. You'll be able to register if you have a significant other. I'm just saying, this is just my recommendation. If you have a significant other, invite your significant other to take the journey with you. It's 2 hours, right? It's 2 hours. We're going to dig into some deep stuff. We want you all to begin that journey, to learn how to start that journey, because that's very significant. And we want to help you get there, right? What if you guys could do that together? What if you both could be, because I'm going to tell you something. If you're in a relationship and you do this class, I need you to understand that there is a chance that as you engage in your healing process, that you could be moving further away from your significant other if they are not healing with you and if they are not going through their own healing journey. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. Thank you, Donnell. I'm just telling you. Just know that that's real. Know that that's real, and know that that's a chance that you're taking. Listen, you guys, for those of you who want to contribute, what you give today is going to the woman that I was telling you about, who's diagnosed with cancer. She's had a lot of health issues, and she wants to take her kids and her grandchildren to the beach. Wants them to see the ocean. It goes to them. You guys can give via Cash App at $Passionate Pursuit Ministries. Passionate Pursuit Ministries. Hold on, let me get up here so that I can share this. $Passionate Pursuit Ministries. You can give there. If you're doing PayPal, it's paypal.me/Passionate Pursuit. But if you feel led to give 100% of what you give is going to go to her. Okay. 100% of what you give is going to go to her. She was a member of my church when I pastored in Kentucky, in my hometown. She was always faithful. Thank you to those of you who gave. I appreciate it. I'm just excited about everything that God is doing. Listen, I've got to go. But I want to remind you, be sure, if you want to start your journey towards self-healing, then check out this class, How to Start Your Self-Healing Journey. May 21st at 7 p.m. That's a Friday night at 7 p.m. It's going to be 2 hours. Block out 2 hours. Come ready to do the work. You'll get an email that'll tell you all of the information that you need in order to be ready for what's going to happen. And remember, you can register for the for that class at bit.ly/free self-heal. The class is absolutely free. Come, glean the information, take what you can use, spit the rest out. But know this, know that I love you guys to life and life more abundant. Have an absolutely amazing day. Walk in the liberty that God has given you, knowing that his grace is sufficient, even with the thorns that you have in your side. You guys have an absolutely amazing and blessed day. Mwah.